Good morning. So I've got a fun video today to do in light of Pride Month, which is about homosexuality and how it is an abomination. Um, now, I came up with this yesterday, or not came up with it, but it appeared in my brain yesterday. And I realized I was thinking about it, and I was like, people are focused way too much on the is it a sin aspect, and not enough on the abomination part, because that is really the part that maybe, as far as like God is concerned, like that really is not the main issue, because the whole thing's an abomination. Like it's defiled anyway, like this whole world is. So um it's not particular to him, but it's particular to us that it is an abomination as God's creation, because being around abominations is just not inherently something we like to do or get used to. And so I was thinking about it, and I was like, that's really the key core issue here. It's not so much that some people believe it's sin and some people believe it's not, and we just need to get over that, and we're so ingrained in our whatever. No, that's not what it is. The problem that it's causing, I mean, it is obviously causing a problem, but its power, homosexuality's power, is coming from the fact that it's an abomination, not that it's a sin. And so the idea that we would treat it like we would every other sin is just not possible, because you have a visceral reaction to something that's an abomination. So let me just look up a couple of terms for you. Okay, so sin, I looked at the definition of sin. Essentially, the best definition that I saw was a violation of divine law. So any sort of trespass against the law of God is considered a sin. Now, is an abomination necessarily a sin? I don't know. But an abomination, um, I don't know. I'm trying to think off the top of my head if there's anything that would not be considered a sin. So the metaphor that I came up with is eating poop, right? So that is something that would be considered an abomination still. Like, I don't see anybody trying to overturn that so far in 2023. Thank goodness. I'm sure it's coming. And then also, let me get into the definition of abomination, which was very interesting, actually. Okay, so the definition is a thing that causes disgust or hatred. Okay. And then I looked at the etymology, because I couldn't resist in a word like that. So the first thing I saw was coming from, I believe this is Italian, or it's Latin, but I think it's Italian, because it says abominari, which is Italian, whatever. Um, so abominari, which means to shun as an ill omen. And then when you really break it down, the Latin, it comes from the Latin ab omen, which means away from man. So the from the original words, it's saying like, get this away. Like, that's the connotation, is like away from man, like all mankind, right? So hatred, loathing, disgust, these are words that appear over and over. This is quite different from sin, okay? Then they tried to sneak in at the bottom. It was like abomination used in scripture as that which is ceremonially impure. And it's like, come on, guys. Like, oh, it just means ceremonially impure. It's like, it means quite a bit more than that. Like, like they're taking a part where I'm sure God talks about something, or let's say to our eyes, it doesn't seem like a big deal. It's like, putting the using this animal instead of that animal. And then God says it's an abomination. Because up there he's like, ew, gross, no, no, because he understands what this all means and we don't. So it's a little disingenuous to just be like, oh, it's just a super technical term for ceremonially impure. Like, that's just one of those shit. To me, it's like one of those traps that people can fall into to sort of make light of this. So, so I'm going to go through this sort of list of what people come up with of things that they say about homosexuality, and I'm gonna replace it with eating poop, because I'm gonna tell you right now, like I'm 40 years old, and I think I was born in a time where it was sort of they were really kicking into gear this acceptance of gayness campaign. And I mean, they were, the engines, I could sense around 9, 10, 11, the engines were really running. That was about the time that, it was a couple TV shows with the gay character, and I think it was AIDS. It started with AIDS because the AIDS epidemic had happened. And that was kind of on the low as far as like my radar, because I think I was still too young. But once, it was like Magic Johnson got AIDS, supposedly. I mean, look at the man. Who's still alive, by the way. Then it was like, oh, this is not just a gay issue. So then it was shoved in our face. Everyone with the ribbons, lots of award shows. Then the movies started happening. It was Philadelphia. It was, a couple of others. And even I never saw Philadelphia because I was like 10 or whatever, 11 or whatever it was. But I remember hearing about the plot. I remember, all of the pomp and circumstance surrounding a film like this. I watched the award shows. I watched people get nominated. I watched people clap. I watched people, the Bruce Springsteen song was everywhere, right? And I remember just hearing all of this, oh, and what a poignant, and all these words being thrown around, and oh my gosh, and all of this, very sanctimonious, whatever language. And I'm just like, because the whole thing is about this lawyer who gets AIDS, and he is fired from his workplace for getting the AIDS, or they just fire him because they're like, no. And so he wins this this is all from memory and me not having watched the movie, but he like wins this discrimination lawsuit or something. And I feel like if we watched it today, it would really, even then, it would be thin as far as its logic, and it's just a lot of emotion. He's up there just about to keel over and die because he's just so sick. Oh my gosh. And then the evil white lawyer people that made fun of him and said horrible things while he was, while they were on work trips and all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, though, but like, did he have AIDS, and did he get it from doing the nasty with dudes? Like, it just, to me, like, it was like, okay, but that still doesn't solve. Like, as a child, I'm wanting resolution. I'm like, yeah, but that's not cool. It's gross. So, but like, I was just like, this isn't, you're just doing a bunch of stuff around an issue. Like, and then it was like, aren't people allowed to fire people? Like, it just was weird. So, then you get further in, then Ellen has her TV shows before she has the talk show. She's got an actual TV show, sitcom. She comes out on the show. Oprah makes a big to do about it. Like all of these little things. And then by the time you get to the late 90s, it's Will and Grace. It's like all of this stuff. And, now it's been 20 years, 30 years. No one remembers the pre-gay reality except for, older people like myself. And so, we know it's just funny and just weird. And yeah, I remember all of my feelings about gayness then, and just being really like having this natural, this visceral reaction to it, and being told that that is terrible and that you need to, this is just like civil rights. This is just like, the Black people laws, civil rights, NAACP, civil rights, blacks, hoses, dogs, MLK, I have a dream, black. And so you're told, it's just, you're told to change your mind, but you can't really, because it's just, okay. And then you see other people and you see them talking about it. Like, I would say maybe like 1 to 3% of people that I've ever seen advocate for gay people not being gay themselves have a genuine spirit and a genuine look on their face. Like, whether they have it affects them personally with their own family member or whatever. And so they're just like, listen, these are our family members, blah, blah, blah. And, I'm advocating for gay people. But everybody else is like, yes, like, it's so not like everybody wants to barf. Okay. I'm just watch, just look at anything. Don't look at anything now. Go back to anybody being like, this is great. Who's not a celebrity, who's not down on the down low, already doing the stuff, whatever. Because they needed a lot of like high profile people, especially back in these days where people were a lot more gullible. Pre-internet, you know what I'm saying? For, pre-YouTube even. Okay, YouTube is 2008, right? For a lot of people, they were adults in 2008. Me included, okay? So we've heard all the things, and I'm going to be honest, I'm 40 years old. Yeah, I'm still not buying it. Super, super used to seeing all like the desensitization thing happened. It happened and it worked. I still don't have like a lot of gay people in my circle. I know them. I know family members. I know friends of family members. I know friends of friends. I know friends, former people that I went to church with. Yeah, okay. You accumulate some of that over time. But no, it's still gag-inducingly disgusting. Just no. Like, that part is still there. I can hear you talk about this and that. I might even laugh at a joke or two, but you haven't, you might be able to fool some people like, some of the time or whatever, or, people who just got here or like little kids, but I don't know how you're doing that. Like, I think that people understand. Like, I remember, well, I won't get that story because that doesn't it's not important. So let me, just so you understand what I mean by when I say, yeah, no, I'm not buying it. Like, it's gross. It's like, it's abhorrent. It's an abomination still. So let's replace it with, let's see if just logically or even emotionally, you should be able to switch people from things that are abominations, not sin necessarily. Like, get the sin thing out of your mind. Let's just focus on abominations, okay? So we're going to replace all the stuff that they've told us over the last 20-ish years with eating poop. I could say the other word because this is what y'all sound like in church, talking about eating poop. Okay, so let's say that There's groups of people that are eating their own poop, other people's poop, whatever. They're finding poop in the dumpster. They just eat poop, okay? And let's say your first instinct after, like, oh my God, is okay, well, but they're still human beings. Something must have happened. Something must have went down. Like, I can see there's some feasible explanation. Probably their parents was making them eat poop, and then then they acquired this weird whatever. It's bunch. It's based on a lot of trauma and a lot of this and that. And you, as a person who has no inclination to eat poop, is able to sympathize, even potentially empathize with this person, which is a stretch. It's a stretch. But, it's a stretch that we got to make. You can't even say, well, good for you for making that stretch. Like, unfortunately, if we have a whole population of people eating poop, it's a stretch you got to make. Something went wrong under our noses. What's going on? Whatever. Okay. But their response to that is, yes, that did happen. Or they'll say, no, not at all. No. I just like it. Or they'll say, yes, that did happen, but that's not why I eat poop. It's completely unrelated to my decision to eat poop. It's a completely and totally valid decision. It's like, no one believes that. No one believes that when you say that. Like, and I bet you kind of find out the people that say, no, this is completely unrelated to my life. This never happened to me. Kind of find out, oh, yeah, they actually were fed poop when they were little. And for some reason, they just kept it. They didn't want to hear it. They didn't want to let people know about it. Because it embarrassed them. Oh, because it's their own bias that they got from this world. No, it's just disgusting. It's viscerally not something you're supposed to do. It's not something you're supposed to do. You're supposed to eat. Food grows out of the ground, folks. You're supposed to eat the food that grows out of the ground. It makes sense scientifically. It makes sense biologically that you would eat things that are alive. Eat, like, because you need living things. And then that spills over into the theological, because we're living beings, and anything that is dead pretty much kills us. If it's been out too long, if it's been separated from the death process too long, if it hasn't been frozen, if it hasn't been, whatever. Like, we need things that are as close to the life process as, if not completely alive at the moment, if not plucked off the tree, taken out. What do we call something that has just been taken out of the water and just eaten right there? Fresh. We call it fresh. Because it is basically still wiggling. That's fresh to us. We need living life. Poop is like the complete antithesis of that. And you don't even need to be that old to know that. Oh, well, those biases are ingrained by the time you're 2 years old. No, sis. No. No, you're not gonna do the bias thing. No. And then they say that. Let's cross that off the list. How does that hit your ears? Does it sound ridiculous? Because it is. Okay. Then they decide they're going to desensitize people to it. They're going to start showing it in cartoons. They're going to start alluding to it. There's going to be a lot of melted Snickers bars used as props. And everybody's just going, ew, isn't it gross? Oh, ew, ew, and laugh tracks. And you're sitting there and you're just like, I can't even sit through this. They might even have somebody running to the bathroom in the thing and everyone's laughing because it's disgusting. Desensitization, just all the time, nonstop. How would that make you feel? Would you feel like you're in a strange clown world? Would that give you nightmares? Probably. Like, that's freaking demonic, bro. Okay. And then let's say they say, well, food is food. We'll just let that sit in your spirit for a little bit. Food is food, y'all. And then it's like impoverished situations, and then you say, well, people for thousands of years have figured out how to live on this planet without having to resort to poop eating. And then they find 5 historical accounts in all of human history where people fried up cow patties. And now we have to sit here and endure this nonsense. Right? Okay, and then let's say, oh, food is food. And you have June is eat shit month. And they do a food is food campaign. And they show people happy in ads. And they show like poop, but it's got like garnish. Maybe it's fried. It's on a beautiful plate. Do you know what I mean? But they never actually show what it looks like to actually do it. Maybe even the people that do eat poop, they don't even enjoy it. It makes them vomit. They have to have like a bucket next to them as they eat it. Because they're not supposed to. Because their body is like, what are you doing? Their body is racist, is just the most racist person when it comes to this. Because now you can use racist for anything. Anything that's just like, anytime, like, do you feel that connotation that they're trying to make? Like, if you're just intolerant of anything, if you have any boundary, you're just racist about something. Like, do you feel them making that link? That you're just not allowed to say no or you're racist? So anyway, but they never show you that. They just show you people who say that they eat poop and they affirm it, and they cry a little bit about how people at school would make fun of them because of how they smell, how their breath smells, and they just break down because of all of the trauma from the cruel. Like, listen to how crazy that sounds. That is exactly what we're dealing with here. Even if it's just on a spiritual level, because maybe you can't sense it. You're like, that's crazy. It's like, in the spirit, God calls us an abomination to him. Oh, and that's the other thing. Well, where in the Bible does it not say to eat poop? Where does it say? Okay, well, it says at one time where he says, hey, y'all, don't eat poop. It's an abomination unto me. Okay, but where's it in the New Testament? It's not in the New Testament, really, because this is not something that you need to tell a bunch of people to not do. Usually it's not emphasized, because why would you have to tell people over and over not to eat poop? Like, it's weird. Like, and then it's like, okay, so what do you do with all the people who are eating poop? Like, we can't just cast them out off into the ocean. But it's like, no, we can't. Yeah, we have a humanitarian crisis on our hands if we were to just think about it logically and straightforwardly. Something is going on, yes. But we can't even start if no one will acknowledge, if we're getting people to go, oh no, this isn't a problem, this isn't a problem, this isn't a problem, this isn't a problem. You can't even start. So it used to be a problem that, the non-poop eaters had to handle themselves. And, I don't know, maybe that was a mistake. Maybe it was overreacting, because you're thinking, okay, these people are contagious or something. Because I'll tell you something else. If you got a group of people that, they they can't reproduce by the process. It's not possible for them to reproduce. They're not making homosexual people after their own kind. It's not possible. So what else is there to conclude but that this is something that afflicts a straight population? Because a straight population is the only kind of population there is. So if you got a group of people who can't reproduce, who can't make more of themselves, they have to use you to make more of themselves. So it's just, it's, I don't know. They need you for their supply. Do you know what I'm saying? And like the trans people, who to me is just gay people on steroids, it's gay people acknowledging that I low key don't want another gay person. Like two gay guys want, like, they all like straight guys. So to me, a trans person is just somebody going all the way there, making themselves into a woman, making themselves into a man, and then they are really trying to get straight people to accept this and call you all types of names. So it's just like, oh, okay, so this is going to go on. This nonsense is going to go on forever. Why am I even trying to accept this? There's no, and that's the other thing too. That's just a general rule of thumb, probably. Like, if the other party has no intention of ever stopping, of ever reaching a consensus, there's no point in trying to reach a consensus with them. It's not possible. Like, you only do those type of things for the sake of peace, for the sake of everyone else, for the sake of everybody. But it's like, if they're never going to do that, if they're never going to concede to anything, they're never going to live in harmony with you. They're just going to keep going in their direction. It's like, you don't have to listen to these people. That's like, you ain't got to do nothing that people say. Those people are unruly, and they are just fundamentally, on a human level, they are exempt from having to be whatever. It's like, no, I'm going to just put my boundary all the way up. You're not a trustworthy person. You've openly said you refuse to be a trustworthy person, which is what is the foundation of all civilization. Not your government doing all your stuff. Like, the government is in huge violation, but it's so big now that it doesn't care. That's the only reason. Like, there's no governing happening with the government anymore. I don't know if anyone here under like 17 years old is watching this, but they're just so big now. They're trying to look legit for so that y'all don't overrun them, because there's way more of us. But right now they're just doing a bunch of stuff because, it's too big to stop them. And there's too many people agreeing to do this nonsense, which is another reason why they have grouped up with the poop eaters because it's destabilizing. It's what do you call it when you like enable people, but it's like you don't really mean like, I don't know, my brain's just stopped working. Anyway, so, and unfortunately, I feel like, they learned from the Black people, because they started an early association with civil rights, basically they watched Black people do what they did, and then you copy and paste. And it's sad because, I don't know, that might have to be a whole other video if ever. Like, I'm really just not into anything that isn't about Jesus. But, they really pulled a flam, and, the devil got Black people to do some stuff that helped him usher in his whatever. They did what is the wooden horse? Hold on. Okay, sorry about that. The Trojan horse. So they Trojan horse the Black people, and now if you're going to be all the way, with that, you gotta team up. All of you just trying to get the stuff that you want as a Black person, or the stuff that they promised you so long ago that if you just fight for it and reach up and take it, and stop taking the BS, and you just whatever. Now you got to team up with just the worst of the worst, and then they go, and then you go, hey, we can do the Black stuff now, and they're like, later. So anyway, That's not even on my list of things, but okay. So then they pull this one on you. You know, everyone has accidentally eaten poop in their life. Everyone's a poop eater. Everyone is eaten poop at some point in their lives. Whether you knew it or not, you was eating poop. When you did this, when you wiped your butt and then you ate and then you put this in your mouth, and then okay, how dumb do you have to be to go, oh my gosh, are they right? Are they right? Am I a poop eater? Okay, and the other one is sort of related to it. Like let's say that they use the internet to pump poop eating channels to you in the privacy of your own home. Now you're sitting at home watching this disgusting ritual because it's like now you're like actually seeing the whole thing. But even that's cleaned up. You know, there's no vomit on the ground and whatever. You're just seeing just a composite. Because here's the thing, they're not. It's in if they showed you what this really entails, you'd be like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Because it's like, no, yeah, we're people just like you. We live next door. We have jobs. We do, we have a duplex. Like, I don't know if you remember, like, was it DoorDash or it was one of those delivery things? And it was like, this is our gay pride menu. And it was like bran muffins and all of this fiber stuff to keep your stuff moving so that when you're getting plowed in your butt, you won't get constipated. And they really try, and like everybody was like, what? And they were like, yeah. Like they were like, this is what it is. Like they were trying to move it forward because they probably, like most people, are noticing like, yeah, this acceptance is it's just surface talk. You need to, like, are you going to accept this or not? It's like this whole thing was predicated for the people that have been doing this for 20, 25 years, been in this thing. The whole thing was predicated on, uh, you know, you come this way a little bit, we'll come this way a little bit, and we'll reach a consensus. Like, we just want to be treated fairly. We just want to be treated like human beings. Like, we don't want anything. Oh, we're not, whatever, which is super manipulative from the jump because the implication is that people go around just like wanting to abuse. It's like, are you talking about high school? Yeah, everyone is doing that. Everyone's freaky and gross and disgusting. And if you are genuinely freaky and gross and disgusting in high school, then you're getting it the worst. And all of the people that were getting it before you came along are going to give it to you too, so that they can have, like, everyone, this is human. Everyone knows how this works. So anyway, yeah, that's just one of a few abominations. I picked that one because that's literally the closest thing to, like, can I see you with your clothes on in church, in wherever? Yeah, I can be polite. I can say, excuse me. I can do whatever. Like, yeah, okay, let's go out to lunch and let's talk about anything other than your poop eating. Oh, that's discriminatory. Bruh. You're in a fantasy land. You're in a delusional fantasy land. Let me be the one to tell you the truth. We all who do not have this problem think it's absolutely disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. And 20 years of desensitization has allowed us to be in the same room with what we think is disgusting. And also, you trying to compare this to separate water fountains. Being black is not an abomination. People being uncomfortable with another group of people that come from a different ethnic whatever and are just different, probably the two most different groups on the planet, trying to live together in the same place. Yeah, that was discriminatory. And yeah, it sucked, but like, whatever. Nobody cried about it unless there was just, and fundamentally, no one's crying because fundamentally you're not being accepted. It's because someone's making your life hard. That's what is what making you cry. So And even then, everybody figured out a way around that shit. And then the white people were like, well played. Good job for you. But, like, don't compare your abomination to people made in the image of God who are just literally born this way openly on the outside, given character traits that they had no, or physical traits that they had no say in, and other people feeling a way about it. But I think it comes down to more than that ultimately. Even then, it's just two different groups. But yeah, that's not an abomination. And those things, the fact that those things are being compared is insane. Insane. So, but I think people are being spiritually blinded to the reality of what homosexuality actually is. And then also, the straight population is trying to be civil and nice and open and loving, and they're not really telling you what the thing is. Your mommy and daddy are never going to tell you. They're just going to see the baby that they raised, and they want you to be happy. And a lot of parents will let you eat poop and not tell you that it's completely destroying your everything inside here and all of this. It's disgusting. They're not going to tell you that, because if you threaten to kill yourself, then they're just like, okay, no, you're fine. We'll accept you and your poop eating. So, we got to ignore the statistics, ignore all of the health problems that come with it, because you know what else? That's more industries that can be made. More ways to keep the poop eaters alive, even though it's killing them. Okay, well, Big Pharma's going to roll out the pills. They're going to roll out I don't even know what kind of health crisis comes with eating poop, but they're going to just be like, we're here to take care of you because you're a marginalized group, and they'll give you your own flag and just let you go down this road of insanity. Now, where is the sin aspect in it? The fact that God said it is an abomination, he don't like it, and you're doing it anyway, which ultimately is the foundation of all sin. So this is why in churches, we don't emphasize the abomination part. I think it gets lost in the sauce. And we feel a little self-conscious that we can't seem to be able to help people when God said, go out and help the people. And you're like, this is a stretch for me. And to me, the most successful ministries to gay people are people who have been in the lifestyle and became Christian. And I'm just like, yeah, go. Yes. Go talk to them, because I'm going to just do what I did in this video and just offend y'all left and right. I'm not going to be able or something, or I'm going to sit there and just listen and have a surface. You're going to feel that surface relationship, which so happens that maybe there's some similarities socially with Black people or this or that, but that we're not the same. Just because, oh yeah, me too, girl. Yes, this is how it is for me too. When I go out to the Midwest, stop. Okay. So like, people are just trying to cope in the best way they can when they're uncomfortable. But yes, as far as God is concerned, it's God like, ew, I can't talk to you. No, he'd have to do that for everybody. For God, all of this nonsense is just a result of fallen mankind, and it's just a regular weekday. The sun is shining is basically what you're saying. If you're a poop eater, if you're a gay person, he doesn't care. Does he accept you? He accepts you the way that he accepts all the rest of us, which is you having accepted Christ, made him your Lord and Savior, and a lot of these issues would be resolved by that. But I would also say that, if people who are in a lifestyle and they're trying to rush to be normal because they have felt this going on the wrong way energy their entire lives, which is a good sign, actually, not a bad sign. That's not, oh, the world, you've internalized your own the biases of the, no. That means that you're a human like the rest of us, and you know something isn't right. And that is about as close, if you never get it licked throughout your whole life, that's about as close as you can get to, being like everybody else, because everybody else also has disgusting things that they're doing in the dark that they know aren't right, and they know are killing them, and they know they're with the wrong crowd that's just affirming everything that they say, but they can't stop and they don't want to, and all like that is everyone's life all the time too. So it's not like, yes, it is particular because it involves something that God calls an abomination, but as far as the routine, as far as the way that it goes, it functions like every other sin that there is. So it's maybe strange, but it's not that strange. But the nail in the coffin is also the same nail that's in all the sin coffins, which is, no, it's fine, it's great, actually, and you're the one that needs to adapt. It's like, that is pride. That is a lot of things that'll get you killed. Pride is like one of the worst sins. I mean, it's probably worse than being gay. It's having pride up the wazoo. Like, this is what caused Lucifer to not be in heaven anymore and to be a hot mess that we all have to deal with every single day. Like, pride is bad, bad, bad. God resist the proud. He don't like it because he is humble. He doesn't get it. It's stupid. Like, if he's humble, there's no reason why you need to be proud about anything. So don't listen to that nonsense would be my first advice to you. And also just like admit the truth, because this is what you sound like. Like, this whole metaphor exercise is just to show you what you sound like. It ain't getting no better with time or flags or representation or nothing. Like, none of it's is not taking away from the reality that turds are turds and it is not food. And homosexuality is not love. It's just not. And love is love makes no sense. And it's not related to this at all. So it's like saying food is food. So yeah, just take something outside that you don't have any association with any of the stuff with and see if it still makes sense. Oh, it doesn't at all. At all, like at no point. So that is my sermon for today. Happy Pride Month. And God bless you for sitting through this, especially if you are a person who struggles with homosexuality or doesn't struggle at all with it or whatever. But yeah, I know that seems like, oh, it's the same old, same old. Yeah, it is the same old, same old. And somebody needs to tell you, like, it's never going away. This is what it is. This is what it has been throughout all history of time, ever. And, even if you struggle with it your entire life, guess what? What does the Bible say? What did Peter say? To struggle in the body is to be done with sin. So struggling is actually good. Struggling is better than acceptance. And if that's as far as you get, well, welcome to the rest of the world, because you're describing most humans. All right, I think I'm done. This thing is super long, so y'all enjoy the rest of your day.